Hello and welcome to day 92 of the 1000 days of no code challenge. Imagine you're working on a new feature, and once you finish working on the new feature, you realize that you have messed up with something that was working perfectly fine before you started working on this feature. Now, how do you revert back to a point where that was working perfectly fine? That's exactly what save points in Bubble does. They act as checkpoints for your app, allowing you to roll back when something goes wrong. Whether it's a broken workflow, a design mistake, or a new feature that didn't go as per your plan, save points ensure that you do not have to start from scratch. In today's video, let's discover how do we create save points and how do we use them whenever something goes wrong. Let's get started. So let's understand how do we create save points and how do we use them. So to create save points, click on this main, and then we have overview, and on the right side we have history. So click on history and you can create a save point from here. Every time you send the app to live or you reset to some other previous versions, you will see all those as save points over here. Okay, let's say I create a save point and I can give any name that I want here. So for example, before adding new tasks feature, right? We don't have to put the date and time because it already saves that by default. So if we go here, you can see that before adding new tasks feature, okay, just now by support.redsummit.com, after certain time, you can see that it comes over here. And if you hover, it tells you what is the date and time when this particular save point was created. Now, if I want to go back to any other save points, then just click on the save point that you want to go back to. This was one day before. So I'll go to restore to this save point. I'll click on confirm. So I'll come back to this particular save point with all the app changes as it was at that particular date and time. The beauty of save point is it's not just that you can go back in time, but you can also come back to new save points. So if I go to main history, then I went back to this particular date and time. As you can see, it is mentioning restore branch back to, right, in this particular point. I can also go back. So before adding new tasks feature, right? So I'll come back there. So let's quickly check. I'll do some changes and then we will see it. Okay. So I will delete this. I'll delete this. I'll delete this, right? So I made some changes here. I'm going to history and I'm saying before adding new tasks feature. So click on this particular save point and restore to this save point. Click on confirm. The app will refresh and all the components will be restored back. This will even work if you have messed up with workflows, design, anything. Again, keep in mind, this will not restore your database. So for example, if I go here, let's say for example, I go to users and let me delete these 3 records. Right, so I've deleted 3 records and right now we have 63 entries. Let's say I go back to history and I go back to before adding new tasks feature, right? So I'll restore this, click on confirm. It will restore with regards to the elements that we have added, but not with regards to the database. So we will still have 63 entries. And we've already covered how do we copy and restore database in our previous video. Let's assume that we have made some changes and then we have sent it to live testing. Click on confirm. And then you realize that whatever you have sent has some bugs and you want to go back to the previous version, right? So you go to history and let's assume we'll go to this particular date and time, restore to save point, click on confirm. When you do this, you automatically see that the live version is out of sync with your main branch. What it says is basically whatever you have in the live version is not in sync with what you have in main, right? So whenever this happens, Bubble will not allow you to deploy it to live, okay? The main should always be on par with live or something added more. It should not be going back. So for example, what we did is we sent something to live, which was here, right? And then we restored back to the older date, right? And this will not work. So what we can do is we can understand what is the date and time here, right? Which is 2/28/2025, 17/28/34, right? So we can go to live branch and we can restore over here to 28, and this was, let's say, 18/00/00. Restore. Click on restore. Now what we are doing is we are restoring the live branch to older version. Now we can see that this has happened over here, right? So this is in the live. So we have restored it back. Now we can go back to the main and you can see that now it is synced, right? So as I mentioned before, the main branch should always be in the future compared to the live branch. And that's when it will allow you to send any changes from main to live. Whenever you are creating save points, always ensure that you give meaningful names so that whenever you are stuck, you know where to come back to. Also, now let's assume that you have not created save and you have messed up with the app. But you knew that before you started the work, everything was working fine. So you can roughly calculate when did you start the work. And let's say I started 30 minutes back. So what I can do is I can click on this one. It will allow you to do custom date and time. Okay, so we have a date here. I will just make this as 00 and probably 00, right? And restore to this custom date and time. Click on confirm. And now this will be restored to whatever it was 30 minutes back. So whatever you messed up in the last 30 minutes will be gone and everything will be working fine as it was at 8 p.m. because that's what we set it to. And how much back in time can we go depends on the app plan. I think we have discussed about this in one of the previous videos, but I'll still show it again. So I'll click on change plan and we can go to compare all features. And then in collaboration, we can see that we have version backup and restore, right? In the free plan, we can go back in the free plan, we can go back up to 6 hours. In the starter plan, it is 2 days. In the growth plan, it is 14 days. In the team plan, it is 20 days. And in the agency plan that we work on, we have 14 days. And that's why if I go to main history, if I click on this one, I can go back in time until 14 days behind. So I can make this as 2. And you can see that I cannot go back on 1st of Feb because none of the plans allow us to go back 1 month behind. If I make this as 14, it's still not working because we just have 14 days. I'll go to 16 and this will work because 16 is within 14 days when compared to 1st of March. I hope save points was useful, and I would tell every developer needs to create their save points as and when they finish something very critical. Yes, I know. You might be saying save points are the lifesaver for developers. Exactly. And that's why we wanted to cover it today before we go live on the 100th day. It's an essential backup feature which ensures you never lose progress, letting you experiment and undo mistakes with ease. Now you know how to create save points and how to use them. Whenever you reach a particular point where you feel everything is working fine, please create a save point so that any changes that you do after that, if by mistake it goes wrong, then you have a point where you can come back to. This makes the development process easier and headache free. That's all from me for today, and I will see you in the next one.